Very good morning, everyone. Uh, Welcome in today's clinic. Today's session is strength and conditioning, when and how, to be conducted by Mr. DECKLINE LIATO. DECKLINE LIATO is a strength and conditioning specialist. He currently coaches at RxDX Sports Medicine Center, Bangalore, and consultant in Prakash Padukan Badminton Academy and also associated with Olympic Gold Quest Foundation. He got sports science degree from South Africa and postgraduate diploma in sport from London. Many top Indian sportspersons in swimming, badminton, and other major sporting activities are training under his supervision. We like to welcome Mr. DECKLINE to start his session, sir. Good morning.
Thanks. Good morning, Papa, and good morning to everyone. Okay, so I think you've explained about what I do, and just to give a brief about myself, that's what strength and conditioning is. What is my specialization? I'm going to मैं हिंदी में इंग्लिश में दोनों में बातें करूँगा so that ज़्यादा लोगों को probably पता चले कि मतलब क्या हो रहा है and spread the knowledge. ठीक है. So हिंदी मेरी उतनी खास नहीं है लेकिन जितनी खास है उस हिसाब से बात कर लूँगा. ठीक है. So मैं fortunately काफ़ी टाइम से इस फील्ड में हूँ और काफ़ी प्लेयर्स के साथ ट्रेनिंग भी कर चुका हूँ. So कुछ प्लेयर्स जो है जिनके साथ मैंने कोचिंग किया है अब तक उनके जस्ट थोड़े फोटोज है just to give an idea. So what is the work? So swimming में there are people like शिवानी कटारिया, श्रीहरि नटराज जो अभी भी ट्रेन करते हैं मेरे साथ, सलोनी दलाल, फिर खुशी दिनेश करके जूनियर है, फिर अनीश गौड़ा, काफ़ी स्विमिंग में काफ़ी लोग रहे हैं और in the past Mana Patel,
I think you need to
I'm very close to even now. So Mana Patel abhi, is it okay? Any better now? Is it?
Yes, better.
Clearer? Okay, I'll speak a bit louder. Generally, I speak very low. थोड़ी आवाज बड़ी करके बात करता हूँ. ठीक है. So yeah, so these are some of the swimmers just to show some of the work. थोड़ा फिर टेबल टेनिस की प्लेयर है अर्चना कामत करके, who's the current national champion, who's been a student for quite some time. Cricket में I worked with, of course, after he retired with Azharuddin. He's again a good friend as well. Pistol shooting, archery में for a while I managed to work with Deepika Kumari. Badminton में लक्ष्य सेन करके एक player है, who's like the future for Indian badminton. Ashwini Ponappa, who's been a student for many years. Ashwini was also known for hitting the hardest smash in the world in badminton, so very powerful. Saina Nehwal ke saath I worked, Prakash Padukone ke saath for quite some time. I worked under him. He was my boss, or plus uske saath I've coached him as well. Amazing gentleman. At 60 उनको proper full extension वाले 2 pull-ups करवाए थे मैंने and built up gradually. एक भी वो नहीं कर सकते थे. So विमल कुमार और प्रकाश पडुकोन ये 2 है. विमल कुमार is a द्रोणाचार्य in badminton. ये दोनों के कोचिंग फिलॉसफी से काफ़ी इन्फ्लुएंस हुआ मैं, काफ़ी सीखा हूँ इन दोनों से. बॉक्सिंग में अगेन बीन फॉर्चुनेट, सरिता देवी, सुमित सांगवान और मे बी फॉर अ मंथ मेरी कोम के साथ भी ये सब बैंगलोर आए थे फॉर ट्रेनिंग कैंप्स, तो उनके साथ. और प्रॉब्ली मेरा सबसे फेवरेट अगर स्पोर्ट है और जिसमें आई एम रियली प्राउड ऑफ व्हाट आई हैव डन इज शॉट पुट. And Inderjeet Singh, Inderjeet एकदम मतलब is around 150 kilos, powerful, and that's a sport जहाँ पे मतलब conditioning is not a choice. मतलब strong होना, अगर आदमी अगर 200 किलो का bench press करता है, 220, 230 का squat करता है, so you can understand, कि कितना power चाहिए. So that's my favorite sport जहाँ पे I'm tested the most. Second favorite is swimming because again उसमें भी काफी power चाहिए, but short put is like so. I'm tested the most for my knowledge. So now, cool. Let's go to requirements. क्या है? Swimming थोड़ा unique sport है, हर बाकी sport की तरह नहीं है. तो क्या है unique requirements? So first is कि clear target time होता है. तो एक swimmer को अगर पता करना है मैं improve हो रहा हूँ कि नहीं, तो क्या है? अपना जो पुराना target time है, एक आदमी suppose कोई swimmer 110 दे रहा है उसके 100 में, okay? और उसको improve करना है. So if he gives 19, that's it. Very clear. Okay, target time फिक्स रहता है. Water is the medium, so it's all about feel. कोई ground होता नहीं है push करने को other than in your starts and in your flip turns. Mouth breathing and breath holding, unlike land-based sports. So ये भी काफी unique होता है दूसरे sports में. बैडमिंटन, टेनिस में breath hold नहीं होता है. इसमें काफी depend करता है ना how you are able to manage your breathing as well. Swimming में कोई direct opponent नहीं है, यानी कि आपके लेन में कोई नहीं आ सकता है, ना आप दूसरे के लेन में जाके कुछ कर सकते हो. So अगर आपको अपना खुद का अच्छा टाइम देना है तो it's all up to you. ओके आप दूसरे का कुछ बिगाड़ नहीं सकते और दूसरा आपका कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ सकता. लेकिन जो स्पोर्ट्स होते हैं जिसमें ओपोनेंट्स होते हैं, जैसे बॉक्सिंग हो गया, टेनिस, बैडमिंटन, टेबल टेनिस, उसमें एवरीथिंग इज अबाउट हाउ द ओपोनेंट को हम लोग उसको बीट करें. ओके सो स्विमिंग में वैसा नहीं, इट्स अ वेरी क्लियर थिंग. जितने तुम अच्छे हो उतना करके दिखा सकते हो, कोई रोक नहीं सकता. बीइंग फिट एंड स्ट्रांग स्विमिंग में इज नॉट एन ऑप्शन. ओके मतलब फिट और स्ट्रांग होना और स्विमर्स की बॉडी देख के ही पता चलता है. नो बाकी काफी स्पोर्ट्स होते हैं, टीम स्पोर्ट्स होते हैं जिसमें चॉइस होता है. नो सपोज मे बी जिसमें फिजिकलिटी उतनी नहीं है, जैसे शूटिंग हो गया, क्रिकेट हो गया, यू नो मे बी गोल्फ हो गया, कि आदमी फिट हो तो दैट्स एन ऑप्शन. बट अगर नहीं भी है तो भी उसमें स्किल से आदमी काफी आगे निकल सकता है. लेकिन स्विमिंग में यू हैव टू बी फिट और टेक्निक भी होना चाहिए. तो दैट इज अनदर यूनिक थिंग. स्विमिंग अगेन नॉट इम्प्लीमेंट बेस्ड. ओके सो बाकी स्पोर्ट्स में होती है, क्रिकेट की बैट होती है, गोल्फ का क्लब होता है, या यू नो यू हैव योर टेबल टेनिस का रैकेट. सो स्विमिंग में देयर इज नो इम्प्लीमेंट. मास्टरी जो है वो अपने बॉडी पे करनी है. ओके देयर इज नथिंग एल्स. और मतलब कुछ लेके हम लोग दूसरी कोई चीज से नहीं खेलते, पॉइंट्स नहीं मिलता है कि शटल लाइन के अंदर गिरे या बाहर गिरे. इट्स ऑल अबाउट योर बॉडी. द इम्प्लीमेंट इज योर बॉडी. क्लोज एंड टेक्निक. सो व्हाट डज दिस मीन इज कि जो टेक्निक होता है अगर फ्री स्टाइल में देखे बैक स्ट्रोक में, तो इट्स अ रेपिटेटिव मूवमेंट. ओके इसमें स्ट्रोक्स चेंज नहीं होते. अब बैडमिंटन में फॉर एग्जांपल एक पोजीशन से अ पर्सन कैन प्ले thousands ऑफ स्ट्रोक्स. यू कैन प्ले एन ओवरहेड टॉस, यू कैन प्ले अ ड्रॉप, यू कैन हिट अ स्मैश. ओके देयर आर thousands, मतलब वेरिएशंस कभी कम नहीं होते उसमें. टेक्निक कभी कोई बोल नहीं सकता कि मैं सीख गया हूँ या परफेक्ट किया, बिकॉज उसमें मतलब hundreds ऑफ चॉइसेस होते हैं कि कहाँ शटल को भेजे, कौन से स्ट्रोक से भेजे. ओके whereas स्विमिंग में इट्स अ फिक्स्ड स्ट्रोक पैटर्न, सो यू कैन नो व्हाट यू आर गोइंग टू डू. बायलैटरल मूवमेंट यानी दोनों साइड इक्वली काम करते हैं. इट्स नॉट वन साइडेड लाइक से क्रिकेट, अगेन लाइक यू नो टेनिस, जहाँ पे एक साइड से सर्विस होती है, एक साइड से जनरली रिजल्ट्स आर प्रेडिक्टेबल. स्विमिंग में मैसिव अपसेट्स नहीं होता है. अभी काफी स्पोर्ट्स है, जैसे टेनिस में नॉट सो ग्रेट प्लेयर से हार जाता है. बैडमिंटन में भी काफी, आई थिंक इट्स सेइंग माय internet connection is unstable. Is it clear again? I hope. Partha, in case beach mein break hota hai, so you just let me know. So I'll probably repeat that point.
No, it's manageable now.
It's okay,
I
right?
won't say totally clear, but manageable.
Cool. So results are generally predictable. ऐसा बोल सकते हैं कि स्विमिंग में एक नेशनल चैंपियनशिप में कौन टॉप 8 रहेंगे और उनमें से कौन टॉप 3 रहेंगे, वी कैन जनरली प्रेडिक्ट. 3 शायद 1 बन सकता है, 1 शायद 3 बने, लेकिन प्रेडिक्टेबिलिटी रहती है. अपसेट्स नहीं होते, यू नो. लाइक बैडमिंटन में कभी वर्ल्ड नंबर 1 भी जाके वर्ल्ड नंबर 60 से हार सकता है, यू नो. बट स्विमिंग में इट्स वेरी रेयर कि कोई वर्ल्ड नंबर 60 जाके करंट वर्ल्ड चैंपियन को जस्ट बीट कर दे. इट्स सॉर्ट ऑफ लाइक वेट लिफ्टिंग कि it's very clear कि आदमी कितना कर सकता है, and there's no sort of variables are very low. And the last one is there's only one attempt. Okay, swimming में you don't get a chance to have a second chance. Second over नहीं है. पूरे साल की मेहनत जो है, कभी कभी पूरे करियर की मेहनत एक शॉट में दिखानी होती है. तो even like shot put में for example 3 attempts होता है, weight lifting में 3 attempts होते हैं. Swimming में there's no second chance. So it's a very clear target driven thing. You can visualize. मैं कभी कभी swimmers को बोलता हूँ ना कि swimming में you can visualize your race, everything. कि at say maybe 30 seconds of the race तुम कहाँ होने चाहिए, that you can visualize because it's a fixed skill and a fixed distance sport. उसमें distance change नहीं होता. It's not an unpredictable sport. Whereas many other sports like badminton, table tennis, opponent based sports में you can't predict what's going to happen. So that is something very unique and interesting about swimming. So these are the main points. There are of course many other points as well, but this is what makes swimming definitely very unique in its own right. So now let's look at the 4 main elements. So इसमें क्या होता है कि हम लोग को पता चलेगा कि मतलब strength and conditioning कहाँ fit होता है, because we are talking about strength and conditioning. तो इसमें ये जो एरोज है वो इसलिए किए कि इंपॉर्टेंस दिखाने के लिए कि कौन सी चीज सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है स्विमिंग में और बाकी चीजों का पोजीशन कहाँ पर है. सो दिस इज व्हाट इट इज. द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट कोई है तो वो है स्विमर, विदाउट अ डाउट, बिकॉज स्विमर ही जाके जीतता है, कोच नहीं जीतता या स्ट्रेंथ एंड कंडीशनिंग कोच नहीं जीतता. तो स्विमर जो है सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है इन एनी स्पोर्ट. स्पोर्ट्स में कोई भी जो प्लेयर है सबसे ऊपर वही होता है. उसका टेक्निकल कैपेसिटी मीनिंग उसके स्विमिंग टेक्निक, ओके, जो उसको स्विमिंग को उसको असिस्ट करता है टेक्निक बढ़ाने के लिए. ठीक, सबसे ज्यादा टाइम एक स्विमर अपने टेक्निकल कोच के साथ बिताएगा. मॉर्निंग में शायद 2 घंटे 3 घंटे, इवनिंग में फिर से सबसे ज्यादा टाइम उनके साथ, बिकॉज टेक्निक इज व्हाट इज रियली व्हाट मेक्स यू अ स्विमर. ओके, फिर उसके बाद अगर कोई है उसके नीचे कैपेसिटी विच इज द फिजिकल कैपेसिटी, मीनिंग यू नीड टू बी फिट टू बी एबल टू डू दैट द टेक्निक अगेन एंड अगेन. सो दैट इज वेयर द स्ट्रेंथ एंड कंडीशनिंग कोच कम्स इन. उसके साथ फिर न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट हेल्प करता है, सो दैट आपकी फिजिकलिटी हो, आप में वो पावर हो कि आप घड़ी घड़ी रिपीट कर सकते हो परफॉर्मेंस. एंड देन कम्स मेंटल कैपेसिटी, जिसमें साइकोलॉजिस्ट आता है, फिर पेरेंट्स आते हैं, वेल विशर्स, जो मेंटली स्ट्रांग बनाते हैं प्लेयर्स को. लेकिन ये जानना जरूरी है कि मतलब ये हायरार्की क्या है करके, इसके बारे में और एक स्लाइड है, उसमें और क्लियर आइडिया मिलेगी. बट ये हायरार्की बहुत जरूरी है. क्या होता है व्हेन वी नो व्हाट इज हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट, देन देयर इज नो इनसिक्योरिटी, देन देयर इज नो सॉर्ट ऑफ फाइटिंग. नहीं तो बहुत बार क्या होता है, हर कोई सोचता है, साइकोलॉजिस्ट सोचता है कि बहुत सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट मैं हूँ, मैंने इसको सिखाया जीतने को. स्ट्रेंथ कोच सोचता है कि अरे मैंने इसको फिट बनाया. टेक्निकल सोचता है कि मैंने. सो टेक्निकल कोच विल ऑलवेज बी मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट. और हर प्रोफेशनल अपना ये अगर पोजीशन सही समझे, इट बिकम्स वेरी इजी टू मूव फॉरवर्ड. नहीं तो देयर इज ऑलवेज अ लॉट ऑफ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट आ जाता है. सो स्ट्रेंथ एंड कंडीशनिंग कम्स इन द सेकंड रेंज, बिकॉज स्ट्रेंथ एंड कंडीशनिंग कोच जो है सबसे जो टाइम रहेगा उसमें सेकंड मोस्ट टाइम स्ट्रेंथ एंड कंडीशनिंग कोच स्पेंड करेगा. हफ्ते में शायद 4 या 5 बार. और इफ इट्स अ कोच जो क्लब के साथ काम करता है तो मे बी इवन वार्म अप्स, कूल डाउन में स्ट्रेंथ कोच भी रहेगा. okay? So just to explain what it is, the technical capacity जो होती है is what separates a swimmer from a purely fit person. तो अगर जिम में जाके हम लोग कोई किसी फिट आदमी को पकड़ ले, बहुत फिट है, बेंच प्रेस करता है, रनिंग करता है, सब कुछ, लेकिन टेक्निकल कैपेसिटी होती है खेलने की, बैडमिंटन हो गया, स्विमिंग हो गया, दैट इज व्हाट सेपरेट्स द एथलीट फ्रॉम द प्योरली फिट पर्सन. ओके, द ओनली रोल ऑफ फिजिकल कैपेसिटी. ओके, तो स्ट्रेंथ एंड कंडीशनिंग का क्या रोल है इसमें स्विमिंग के लिए, कि उसके टेक्निकल स्किल्स बढ़ाए और ओवरयूज के इंजरीज जो है उनके चांसेस कम करे. ये क्लियर रोल है और कुछ नहीं है इसमें. स्ट्रेंथ एंड कंडीशनिंग कोई बॉडी बनाने के लिए नहीं है या कुछ आदमी को टफ बनाने के लिए नहीं है या फॉर एनीथिंग एल्स. इट्स वेरी क्लियर. ये अगर क्लैरिटी रहे तो वी कैन नो व्हाट वी आर वर्किंग टुवर्ड्स. एंड देन द मेंटल कैपेसिटी. ओके, मेंटल कैपेसिटी क्या होती है? इट इज बेसिकली समथिंग जो ये ऊपर के 2 पॉइंट्स है तुम्हारे पास. अगर टेक्निकल है स्विमिंग, एक स्विमर के पास, एंड इट इज फिजिकली स्ट्रांग, तब जाके ये यूज होता है. इफ ओनली मेंटल कैपेसिटी से आदमी जीत सकता तो फिर हम लोग भी जीत सकते हैं, बिकॉज एट अ सर्टेन एज ऑब्वियसली कोचेस वगैरह सबके पास मेंटल विजडम तो बहुत होता है, लेकिन क्या होता नहीं है उनके पास, फिजिकल कैपेसिटी नहीं होती और कभी कभी टेक्निकल कैपेसिटी नहीं होती बिकॉज ऑफ प्रैक्टिस. सो ये जानना बहुत जरूरी है कि कौन सा कहाँ फिट होता है. सब जरूरी है, एवरीथिंग इज इंपॉर्टेंट, बट डेफिनेटली ये नहीं बोल सकते कि टेक्निकल कैपेसिटी से ज्यादा और कोई चीज है. ओके, एनीथिंग, इट कुड बी न्यूट्रिशन, स्ट्रेंथ एंड कंडीशनिंग, साइकोलॉजिस्ट, नोबडी इज मोर इंपॉर्टेंट. टेक्निकल कैपेसिटी इज व्हाट मेक्स यू अ स्विमर or a badminton player or a tennis player or a boxer or whatever. That's what separates you from the average. Okay? So now that we are clear about this hierarchy, okay, there's a very clear hierarchy. Let's look at hierarchy when in the role of professional. So it's sort of just a repetition of what I've said. Okay, for improved performances. Okay, so हम लोगों को जब performances अच्छे करने हैं, okay, जब जाके अपने को अभी medals जीतने हैं, okay, we want to win more medals, तब क्या hierarchy होती है? So this is the hierarchy. सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट स्विमर, सेकंड उसके बाद अगर कोई इंपॉर्टेंट टेक्निकल कोच, फिर स्ट्रेंथ एंड कंडीशनिंग कोच, न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट, साइकोलॉजिस्ट एंड सो ऑन, फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट, ऑर्थोपेडिक सर्जन एज वेल. नाउ ऑर्थोपेडिक सर्जन माइट बी वेरी क्वालिफाइड, माइट बी very my elder brother is an orthopedic surgeon, very experienced now, and he's been in London for many years now. उसका मतलब ये नहीं कि because he's a very experienced guy I can get him to train any swimmer, though he's very qualified, learned, everything. So किसका position क्या है ये जानना जरूरी है during performances. Okay, अब कभी कभी क्या होता है, injuries आ जाते हैं. Okay, so during injuries जो हायरार्की है फुल रिवर्स हो जाती है। तो ऑर्थोपेडिक सर्जन परफॉर्मेंसेस में जरूरी नहीं था, ओके, लेकिन जब इंजरीज होती है सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट वो हो सकता है, हो जाता है। बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली कल अगर एक कोई भी कोच हो वर्ल्ड नंबर 1 कोच माइकल फेल्प्स का अगर कोच आ जाए और इंजरी के टाइम पे बोले कि ऐसा करना है, ऑब्वियसली हम उसका नहीं सुनेंगे, हम ऑर्थोपेडिक सर्जन का सुनेंगे, बिकॉज ही इज द गाय क्वालिफाइड। फिर उसके बाद फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट विल डू हिज रिहैबिलिटेशन, न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट विल प्रिस्क्राइब द राइट प्रोग्राम, एंड देन द कोच बिकम्स लास्ट, ओके। तो ये जानना जरूरी है कि कौन से जगह पर कौन सा रोल ज्यादा जरूरी होता है। हम लोग अगर ये सोचे ना कि लाइक कभी कभी ऐसा एक व्हील का डिजाइन होता है कि स्विमर इज इन द सेंटर और बाकी सब लाइक स्पोक्स, एंड आई वुड नॉट अग्री टू दैट, बिकॉज हर कोई इक्वली इंपॉर्टेंट हो नहीं सकता है। एवरीबडी does their work with the right intention, but it's like an office, office में एक मैनेजर होता है, असिस्टेंट मैनेजर होता है, सीईओ होता है। हर कोई अगर मैनेजर बन जाए तो ऑफिस नहीं चल सकता है। So it's the same with coaching. We all need to know our roles and in a swimmer during injuries and during performances. Okay, now coming to the three main principles of strength and conditioning programs. Okay, three main principles. ये याद रखना बहुत जरूरी है. And I would say one of the reasons why I'm able to train and fortunately आज तक सब चला है is because of this. First is individualization. Okay, so इसमें लिखा है obviously the training program has to adapt to the individual swimmer's requirements, not a one size fits all routine. Okay, every swimmer is different and will respond differently to experience, genetics, mental makeup, financial status, food habits, so many. So मैंने नीचे examples भी दिए, like I mean एक training program नहीं हो सकता कि जो हम बोले कि इस एक short distance वाले के लिए ये करना है, हर कोई short distance वाला ऐसा करे या हर swimmer ऐसा करे, okay? Because if you check, कोई भी players अभी जो top players है, टेनिस में फेडरर, नडाल, में तेंदुलकर, कोहली, बॉक्सिंग में टाइसन, मोहम्मद अली, हर कोई अलग है, अलग हाइट, अलग थिंकिंग, बट हर चैंपियंस आर सो डिफरेंट, द बेस्ट इन द वर्ल्ड आर डिफरेंट। तो हाउ कैन वी एक्सपेक्ट कि जो बिगिनर्स है या जो एवरेज एथलीट्स होते हैं वो एक ट्रेनिंग फॉलो करे? ओके, क्रिस्टियानो रोनाल्डो, मेसी, ये दो बोथ आर ग्रेट फुटबॉल प्लेयर्स, लेकिन दोनों की हाइट अलग है, गेम अलग है। और स्विमिंग में भी सेम होता है, राइट? यू विल नोटिस स्विमिंग में होंगे कि दो अलग हाइट वाले रहेंगे एंड बोथ आर गुड। तो किसी एक का प्रोग्राम फॉलो करना हो, टू फॉलो वन प्रोग्राम टू से कि दिस इज इट, दैट डजंट वर्क। वी हैव टू इंडिविजुअलाइज, ओके, इट हैज टू वर्क अकॉर्डिंग टू द इंडिविजुअल आदमी। लाइक आई गिव अ सिंपल एग्जांपल, कि एक प्लेयर समझो, एक स्विमर है आपका जो आता है रिक्शा में बैठ के, ओके, और घर जाता है, वहाँ भाड़े से रहता है, रूम में, छोटे से रूम में, बाहर खाना खाता है और उसको सोता है तो जस्ट फैन के नीचे। और दूसरा स्विमर है जो बड़े घर में रहता है, ड्राइवर है, उसके पास एसी कार से आता है। इफ वी डोंट टेक इट टू कंसीडर कि एक आदमी जो आता है उसको शायद उसका न्यूट्रिशन उतना अच्छा नहीं है, लेकिन आने के बाद हम लोग ये बोले कि नहीं, मुझे तुम कहीं से भी आओ, ट्रेनिंग कर।
Can't hear your voice, Declan.
Parthoji, actually, I think he has unstable internet connection. He got out of the meeting. He's not there.
So requesting everyone just to wait for a while, and I think he'll be joining soon.
Declan, are you there? Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. It had said I was muted, so okay. Sorry, I'll open that thing
So you
again.
can start your presentation first.
Yeah. So let me. Can you see the presentation now?
No, not yet.
Not yet. It'll take some time generally.
It takes a few seconds. Yeah, it's there.
Yes, we can see it now.
Yeah. Okay. So we were here. Okay. So individualization is what I spoke about. Internet connection. Okay. Then we spoke about specificity. Okay. So specificity is basically जहाँ पे हम लोग जो भी exercises करें, okay, जो भी, whether it's a squat or a bench press or whether we are doing push-ups, it has to be specific to the desired result. मतलब swimming हम लोगों को क्या चाहिए? Do we want to improve our starts, or do we want to improve the finish? जहाँ पे maybe 200 meters में last 50 में आदमी बोलता है कि मेरे legs heavy हो जाते हैं. So there has to be a reason specific to the sport. Okay, अगर एक shot putter है तो he needs to train different. He shouldn't be training in the lactic acid system too much, because उसके लिए जो power चाहिए, it's more short for 2.5 seconds. So it's very important कि swimming के लिए जो exercises हो वो specific to swimming हो. So नीचे का जो paragraph है उसमें you can see the intensity and duration at which you train should match the requirements of your swimming events and needs to improve performance. Okay, so 50 meters वाले का और 1500 वाले का training obviously cannot be the same. Okay. Fitness training shouldn't be used to punish. Okay, ये बहुत बार गलती होती है ना कि लोग punish करते हैं, बोलते हैं कि कोई अगर swimming कर रहा है और late आ गया, चलो 50 push-ups दो. And I always have a problem with this, कि I mean punishment exercise से क्यों होता है ना? Why should it? Exercise is supposed to improve you. It is not supposed to demotivate you. And toughness के लिए कोई करते हैं, सोचते हैं कि fit रहेंगे तो tough रहेंगे. There's no link. Toughness और fitness का कोई link नहीं है. जितने भी top leaders होते हैं world के, whether it's a Nelson Mandela or Martin Luther King or Mahatma Gandhi, वो कोई fitness के kings नहीं थे, but they were very tough. So toughness is a different quality. Okay, discipline लोग सोचते हैं कभी-कभी ना fitness से discipline बढ़ता है. No, not necessary at all. Some of the most well-built guys can be the most indisciplined in a way. Or sometimes to use fitness as a fun activity, कि just मजे के लिए कर रहे. So point is that the role of fitness for swimming should be just purely to improve performance. That's it, और कुछ नहीं. You want to do swimming, so that you want to do any strength and conditioning, whether it's trial and exercise in the gym, improve performance. That. The other thing. The last, probably between these 3 points, the one to remember is the progressive overload. तो इसमें मैंने specificity जो है उसमें भी एक लिखा है the said principle, specific adaptations to imposed demands. तो ये maybe you guys can थोड़ा read up कर सकते हैं internet पे, and even ये जो progressive overload में है general adaptation syndrome, तो उसके बारे में भी थोड़ा read करना. So progressive overload ये क्या है? ये सबसे most common mistake जो होती है swim coaches, strength and conditioning coaches की, तो सबसे मतलब biggest mistake is this कि लोग क्या करते हैं कि पहले दिन से ही सीधा full training start कर देते हैं. Okay, मतलब full intense. तो progression नहीं होता है. तो the name progressive overload means कि जो load हम लोग डालते हैं body पे वो gradual होना चाहिए, especially with youngsters. Okay, अगर वो gradual नहीं है तो suddenly load की वजह से injuries आते हैं. So the whole principle is this: अगर injuries avoid करने हैं और एक progress करना है तो you should have a plan कि 2 महीने में हमको कहाँ पहुँचना है, और वो 2 महीने के बाद जो पहुँचना है last के maybe 2 sort of weeks में, you can't be reaching there today. It should be very clear कि यहाँ हमको जाना है और ये यहाँ से चालू करना है. So that is important. Okay. और नहीं तो नॉर्मली होता क्या है कि जो लास्ट पैराग्राफ में देखो कि द 3 स्टेजेस जो है उसमें है अलार्म, रेजिस्टेंस एंड एग्जॉशन। तो अगर आदमी सपोज ये नहीं करे तो द प्रॉब्लम बिकम्स दैट यू एंड अप getting overtrained and you start getting fatigue too quick. Okay, 1 second. So you end up getting overtrained and you get exhausted, और एक बार exhaustion आ गया तो mental fatigue, sickness, injuries, lower power, it's not worth it. एक बार exhaustion आ गया you cannot improve power, especially not in swimming. अब कोई sports होते हैं, like I'll give you an example of badminton. आदमी थकने के बाद भी जीत सकता है because why it's a skill based sport as well. कि ऐसा जरूरी नहीं कि तुमको सिर्फ स्मैश ही मारना है फुल पावर डाल के. You can still play a dribble, you can still play a toss, you can make the other person move around. So बैडमिंटन में बहुत बार होता है कि the not so fit player ends up winning and the very very fit player maybe doesn't end up winning simply because that skill plays such a huge role. But swimming में अगर एक इंसान एक player suppose 10% he's injured, so I always say अगर 10% injury है और fatigue है, that means you're only 90% powerful. Okay, so it's important to be 100% powerful in swimming. You cannot afford to lose even 1% of strength or power, because swimming is all about microseconds. Improvements are not by some 1 hour or some 20 seconds or something. So you have to be as powerful as you can be. How you can do that is by making sure that you're not into the exhaustion mode. Okay, तो वो हो गए 3 sort of main principles याद रखने के. Now 3 qualities जो होता है strength and conditioning, वो क्या है? So this is like a pyramid. जो I'll just explain a bit. The 3 phases जब हम लोग ट्रेनिंग करते हैं तो क्या phase होते हैं. तो again इसमें भी importance याद रखना जरूरी है. So the first phase is endurance. Okay, so जब train करते हैं gym में या कहीं पे भी, say even dry land. So the idea first is to build endurance and stability. So endurance क्या होता है? There, in this box you will see the description. It's higher repetitions, sub-maximal force, meaning you don't use the maximum weight that you can take. The time under tension, like in say an exercise like the plank, the time under tension is long. Okay, rest periods are short. Endurance training is something that can improve your lactate tolerance for arm and kicking endurance. Constant जो हाथ थकने लगते हैं ना players के last 50 meters में, or say a 200 meter के race में. So this is where endurance can kick in and really give you a good sort of base. It can be used आपके pre-season में use कर सकते हैं, post-season में तब भी कर सकते हैं. In season आदमी को power भी चाहिए रहता है. So that's why I'll come to power. Endurance can be used and should be used for younger and inexperienced swimmers definitely, because it's the safest phase. Okay, endurance अगर अच्छा नहीं है और आप अगर strength या power build करने जाते हैं, that is where there's a lot of other issues that come in. ठीक है, so endurance के बाद आता है strength phase. Okay, so एक बार आपका अगर endurance clear है तो ही a person should think of doing strength training, meaning that is about, we are talking about heavier weights, lower repetitions. Okay, जहाँ पे force जो है, so an example would be like say wall chair endurance के लिए use करें और बाद में squat चालू कर रहे हैं. तो squat में क्या difference है कि you are going to lift maximum weight, okay, and you are going to take long breaks, and you should be doing it only if you are experienced, because अगर experience नहीं है और somebody is trying to do an exercise like a squat, you can end up injuring yourself. Okay, so this is where good planning comes in. Good strength and conditioning coaches will be able to handle this part. ये सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी होता है. Okay, so जो strength का phase है, this becomes the second phase. और ये कहाँ पे काम आता है? I'll tell you, for strength phase जो रहता है, starts में बहुत काम आता है, because starts जब होते हैं swimmers के, so you start from you hear your beep and you go, right? So वहाँ पे जो sudden contraction चाहिए muscle को, maximal force production, जिससे कि you can take a long, you can produce maximum sort of power to explode as far. That comes in with strength training. So it has its own role as well. Okay, strength training will not maybe help you as much to last long because the repetitions are low, but it helps you with your starts a lot. It can even help you with your turns as well to an extent. Okay. So जब ये दो phases are clear, okay, then you can move on to power training. Now, what is power training? Power training is basically, moderate weight, repetitions are also moderate. Okay, lekin velocity, endurance was wall chair, strength will be heavy squats. Your power would be something like your plyometric jumps, okay, box jumps. Yes, सब plyos में आते हैं, where the movements are fast and sharp. Okay, so इसमें सबसे ज्यादा इंजरी की चांस होती है, लेकिन इससे सबसे ज्यादा पावर, बेसिकली पावर जो बढ़ता है वो इससे बढ़ता है. सो इट इज अ very effective mode of training, but you have to be very careful about this. Okay, मतलब ये how do you do it, because इसमें injuries होने के chances भी बहुत रहते हैं. Okay, तो यहाँ गलती क्या होती है, why this is important to understand, कि बहुत बार coaches क्या करते हैं कि directly unknowingly they jump into power training. So cones डाल दिए pool पे, gym में, or just start making kids do jumps. So without having a good base of endurance, if you start trying to do power training, वहाँ पे injuries होते हैं, because your tendons, your ligaments, which don't have a great blood supply, उनको तैयार होने के लिए हमने chance नहीं दिया through endurance training, और directly power में गए. So even though the intentions are good, sometimes a lot of times players get injured mainly because of just the wrong prescription. It's like गलत दवाई देना गलत time पे, okay, सही दवाई देना बहुत जरूरी हो जाता है. Okay. So this is the pyramid, okay? If you look at it, कैसा होना चाहिए? You should have a good endurance base, strength उसके बाद बनता है, then power. So now you might say कि young जो athletes होते हैं उनके लिए क्या करें? जो suppose कभी 12 साल का है, उसको तो हम लोग strength training नहीं करा सकते. तो उसके लिए endurance के बाद you can do some monitored power training where you watch the technique. Landing सीखना है पहले. Landing के बाद first you learn to land, then you learn to jump. Okay, so that is the whole idea of the progressive sort of nature of this. लेकिन endurance होना बहुत जरूरी है. Okay, it's just like swimming, how I mean, coaches, I listen to some of the things जिसमें बोल रहे थे कि you need to have the endurance first during the formative years, और बाद में you work on sprints. So it's somewhat very similar principle here as well. Okay. So just examples यहाँ पे दिए exercises के. तो ये रहा एक stability endurance का sort of example push up, और इसमें technique note करना. I will say 99% swimmers push-ups wrong करते हैं because their hips are generally low, shoulders ऊपर. This is how a push-up should be. The rule is hands between the chest and the shoulder below the elbow. If that is not happening, you are not doing a push-up. You are just wasting time and doing limited range. Or push-ups wrong करने से you can actually end up even having a lot of shoulder issues, because your range is getting limited. You only get strong in the range you train in. Okay, so this is how a push-up should be, and if you can't do this, you should do it with your knees down. If you can't do that as well, build strength in the shoulders with some light dumbbells, 2 kilo dumbbells, do high repetitions, build some strength in the tricep to do some tricep press downs, build some strength in the abdominals with planks. And then once all these 3 joints are sort of strong, then you start doing, the push-up and attempting to do a full one. But जिनको नहीं जमता है और बच्चों को कभी-कभी coaches force करते हैं, you're just wasting your time. Okay, it's basically not doing anything, just for namesake और training हो जाता है. So now endurance में legs का अगर example दे तो wall chair हो गया. अगर strength का example दे तो here heavy bench presses 5 reps and lower. Squats में same thing heavy. और power का अगर example दे तो here we are clap push-ups. तो clap push-ups में क्या होता है, if you notice, or even like these jump का जो example दिया है, there's a lot of landing. तो जो joints पे जो impact रहता है, that is where the danger is. जो impact होता है उसकी वजह से your ligament injuries, कभी-कभी muscle tears, ये यहाँ पे ज़्यादा होते हैं because it's all explosive movement. So they give you a lot of benefits, but you should also be very careful to know when to use it. This is where trained people come in. Okay, you have to know when to use it. Otherwise, this can just, a lot of careers get destroyed because of just wrong prescription. Okay? So this is the phase, again, just to explain from what the previous slide was as well. Okay, now a common thing that goes through, okay, I'll just briefly touch on this. We want to be, in the performance zone. Okay, so this is the pain and performance का जो relationship है. तुम्हारे पास अगर ज़्यादा पेन है स्विमर के पास, so obviously उसका पावर कम रहेगा. अगर एक स्विमर 100% पेन में है, he will have 0 power. If a swimmer is in 10% pain, then it means he has only 90% power. You want the swimmer to be 100% power, so that means you should have no injury and you should not have any pain relating to injury. So if you want to win medals, okay, or if you want to be in this zone with medals ke liye, you need to go in this direction. Okay, and if you go in this direction, then performance is always negative. Okay, you don't want to be, so try to be away from injuries. You know, jitne injuries se dur hai utna mean you have a chance, you know, to come back and do something. Like an injury hai to guaranteed you're out. You know, swimming jaise sport mein, power sports mein, with injury you just don't have a chance. Okay, so simple tips, you know, you can just go through this, and I do this, you know, regularly. Before every session I ask the swimmer, you know, how are you feeling? So agar unko pain hai, just back off, you know, training cut down kar lo 50%. Agar swimmer, you know, the swimmer complains of a pain, I use, you can always use the RP, you know, the rating of perceived exertion. I use something much simpler. I ask a swimmer, you know, if on a scale of 0 to 10 pain kitna hai? 0 समझो कि कोई pain नहीं है, और 10 पे you have excruciating pain. So अगर 5 के ऊपर बोले तो I'll tell them to go easy. Next day अगर pain फिर भी है या बढ़ गया है, you know, or third day, then straight I'll send them to an orthopedic surgeon, you know, or a physiotherapist. If you have access to a physio, then you can send it to your team physio, or orthopedic. I have, you know, a surgeon ke saath, I have this thing where I just send, he gives me an opinion, and then we go with that. So recovery जब कर रहे swimming में, you know, कोई injury से, तो यहाँ पे problem मैंने देखा है कि, you know, coaches कभी-कभी क्या करते हैं, they don't, they say कि चलो तुम ठीक होके आ जाओ, फिर से training चालू होगा. Your swimming is also part of swimming load जो है, that is also part of recovery. तो अगर कोई injury से आ रहा है, you know, and the orthopedic surgeon or the physio has asked, you know, कि क्या करे, तो उसमें स्विमिंग का लोड भी जरूरी है, सेम लाइक इन द जिम एज वेल. ओके, सो इट कांट बी कि, यू नो, ठीक होके आ जाओ और फिर आना है तो बस ट्रेनिंग करना है, फिर तुम्हारे कंप्लेंट्स नहीं चाहिए. दैट डजंट वर्क. यू नो, काफी कोचेस कभी-कभी ऐसे बोलते हैं कि, नो, मतलब वो जैसे कि प्लेयर नाटक कर रहा है, नो. सो ओके, जस्ट टू रिमेंबर, लाइक आई सेड, द फोर्थ पॉइंट कि, यू नो, विद इंजरी यू कैन नॉट perform. Okay, not in swimming. So never take injuries lightly. One wrong workout can really change a career path. Fifth point, which is important, I think, you know, खास करके a lot of young coaches believe the student. अगर कोई बोलता है कि pain है तो है, because, you know, कितने भी तुम कितने भी टॉप अगर कोई स्पोर्ट्स मेडिसिन के डॉक्टर हो या कोई भी हो, तो you cannot change a part of a body. Okay, like a car की तरह, you know, कार में change होता है because टेक्नोलॉजी है, मशीन्स के लिए चलती है, ह्यूमन बॉडीज के लिए नहीं चलती है. ह्यूमन बॉडी को जस्ट संभाल के रखना है, एक ही बार मिलती है, एक बार अगर टूट गई तो टूट गई. नो, यू कांट रिप्लेस द पार्ट. सो सम नाउ जस्ट फाइनल टिप्स फॉर कोचेस, यू नो, स्ट्रेंथ एंड कंडीशनिंग और इवन जनरल. स्ट्राइव फॉर सेफ्टी फर्स्ट ऑलवेज. ओके, एजुकेटिंग द स्विमर. ओके, द स्विमर अगर स्ट्रेंथ ट्रेनिंग कर रहा है और प्रॉब्ली इवन स्विमिंग, यू नो, तो उसको जानना जरूरी है कि वो क्या करता है. नहीं तो all the knowledge I have is of no use अगर मैं उस swimmer में उसको pass नहीं कर सकूं. So my swimmer also has to be a smart person. If I'm knowledgeable and if I think I am smart in my coaching, my swimmer also has to be knowledgeable and smart in the field that I'm teaching. You know, अगर उसको पता ही नहीं है, just he comes and follows, he or she, so then there's a problem. You know, so कोई student ऐसे होते हैं जो question करते हैं, that is the best thing because you end up, you know, learning again अगर कोई question करता है. Now dry land exercises, no, यहाँ पे you have to ideally in a big group 3 groups बना दो, जो मतलब not so strong students, okay, the strong students and the weak students, and then individualize, you know, put them in those groups. जरूरी नहीं कि हर कोई एक ही exercise करे, you know, एक दवाई से मतलब सब बीमारियां नहीं ठीक हो सकती, वैसा ही हिसाब है with dry land exercises as well. Okay, don't punish students with exercise. This I will, you know, strongly request. You know, it will leave a negative impression for life. क्या होता है एक्सरसाइज के बारे में लोग सोचते हैं फिर एक्सरसाइज है कुछ भारी चीज है ना, मर मर के करना है ना. एक्सरसाइज कैन बी ब्यूटीफुल. सही करे तो एक्सरसाइज doesn't have to be something which is suffering. You know, exercise has to be effective, just like medication. You know, you take it because it's needed. You don't take it because you hate it. Okay? This, yeah, the fifth point, there are no swim specific exercises. कभी-कभी बहुत सारे लोग सोचते हैं कि अगर मैं balancing के exercise करूँ, swimming के करूँ in a certain position, so, you know, I will improve. So just to give you a short example to sort of, you know, keep the conversation short इसमें, because अगर gymnast को देखें, if we go for gymnastic guys, okay, so they have super physiques, you know, सब कुछ है उनके पास जो एक swimmer के body में होना चाहिए from a power perspective, right? Balance, flexibility, core stability, body control, strong shoulders. तो हम लोग क्या swimming में अगर उनको डाल दे और बोले swimming करो तो can they swim? Because they don't have, what is it, the technical capacity जो मैंने पहले बताई थी, okay? तो कोई एक्सरसाइजेस ऐसे नहीं होते जो कि स्विमिंग के लिए स्पेसिफिक होते हैं. एक्सरसाइजेस आर स्पेसिफिक टू द पावर आउटपुट. आइदर एंड्योरेंस के एक्सरसाइजेस होते हैं या स्ट्रेंथ के या पावर के. And then the swimmer uses that power that he or she has built in the water, or the tennis player uses it in his serve. Okay, but ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं अगर टेनिस की सर्व बढ़ाना है तो मैं उसके हाथ में डंबल देके उसको सर्व कराऊं. सो अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स कोचेस में गलत फहमी में आ जाता है कि वो मूवमेंट एकदम स्विमिंग के स्पेसिफिक होना है, कि स्विमिंग के पोजीशन में होना है, या कोई सोचता है कि मैं अगर कराटे करता हूं तो कराटे के स्टाइल में होना है. इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी. वो मसल की जो क्वालिटी है वो बढ़ानी है जिम में और ड्राई लैंड में, एंड देन दैट विल बी यूज्ड बाय द स्विमर इन द वाटर. Okay, you cannot find an exercise जो तुम स्विमिंग के जैसे बनाओ, किसी को रस्सी बांध के अगर फ्लोट करने लगा दो और उसको फिर बोले कि वो दिस इज लाइक स्विमिंग. नॉट एट ऑल, बिकॉज इट्स you cannot mimic. कोई भी स्पोर्ट का एक्शन completely mimic नहीं कर सकते. That's why the sport is unique. Okay, so there are no swimming specific exercises. It's a myth. Okay, but there are endurance, power specific exercises and strength specific, जिससे you teach the person to use their muscles at a certain level, and then that power is used in the water. That is the whole idea of strength and conditioning. Okay, so this was for strength and conditioning coaches. Now tips for swimmers. Agar if you want to tell your swimmers, I always believe champion swimmers are not 100% perfect in any sport. Okay, but they are simply confident to use whatever good qualities they possess when it matters. Okay, finally what it matters is all about confidence. Okay, so स्विमर को कॉन्फिडेंट बनाना बहुत जरूरी है. और वो कॉन्फिडेंस कब बनेगा? जब उसके पास भी नॉलेज हो. जो आपके पास नॉलेज है वो स्विमर के पास भी नॉलेज होनी चाहिए कि क्यों कर रहे हैं. ओके, इंडिया में जनरली एक प्रॉब्लम होता है अपने प्लेयर्स के साथ ना कि कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं होता. बहुत दबके रहते हैं, कोच से डरे हुए, सीनियर्स से डरे हुए, सब जगह से. व्हाई शुड एनीबडी बी स्कैर्ड? मैं तो हमेशा बोलता हूं ना, कोई भी आए तो डरना क्यों है किसी से? द प्लेयर शुड फील वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट. और इफ यू सी दिस यूरोपियन अगर स्विमर्स को देखे और इंडियन स्विमर्स को देखे, मेन क्वालिटी में फर्क होता है. स्विमर्स ही नहीं, काफी स्पोर्ट में हमारे बच्चे काफी डर के रहते हैं. और शायद इट्स बिकॉज एज कोचेस वी कीप देम स्केर्ड, कि कुछ पूछना नहीं है, पूछे तो हम लोग भड़क जाते हैं. बट वी शुड मेक देम वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट, बिकॉज दैट इज व्हाट इट इज. चैंपियंस जो है उनके पास वही मेन क्वालिटी होती है कि दे आर नॉट परफेक्ट, बट दे आर एबल टू यूज व्हाट दे हैव व्हेन इट्स नीडेड. Okay, every exercise set should be all for only for improving swimming. बच्चे लोग काफी टाइम I mean they get caught up. अभी recently there was this thing वो किसी ने भेजा तो t-shirt challenge करके जिसमें you do a handstand position and then you sort of put on your t-shirt. So I mean these type of activities when you're going to put load on your shoulder for a swimmer जिसको position अपना performance बढ़ाना, I wouldn't take a chance. और एक कहाँ पे रुकता है आज कोई बोले कि टी शर्ट उतारना है, कल कोई बोलेगा पैंट उतारना है करके वो पोजीशन में. सो इट डजंट मतलब it becomes a joke at a certain point. कल कोई बोलेगा कि साड़ी पहनना है उस पोजीशन में. सो वी हैव टू नो वेयर इट स्टॉप्स. नहीं तो फन जो है ना, इट्स अ वेरी ट्रिकी थिंग. फन कहाँ पे एंड होता है उसका रीजन नहीं रहता. सो वी शुड जस्ट स्टिक विद स्विमिंग. जो भी करे स्विमिंग के लिए. डोंट ट्राई न्यू एक्सरसाइज इन द लास्ट 2 weeks. देयर इज नो लास्ट मिनट मैजिक. थिंग्स टू रिमेंबर फॉर people. And posting वो ये आजकल का एक नया it's almost like एक बीमारी है with a lot of youngsters कि workout videos डालना है कुछ भी हो गया तो उसमें फिर must fancy moves डाल दिए. It's not necessary to say कि अगर training effective है तो it will show in the courts or in the water or on the ground. अभी we all have heard about internet connection is unstable. Okay. We have all heard about Pulera Gopichand, who's done such a wonderful job as a coach. अभी उसके पास you have PV Sindhu, you have Saina Nehwal with Gopichand. Have you ever seen him? उसके Instagram पे कभी जाके देखो कोई videos दिखते हैं? कुछ नहीं, because उसका काम जरूरी है. How he does it is important. You don't find that, or you won't find that with Prakash Padukone. People who are really. Why should you show? In fact, when I trained Saina and even with Ashwini Ponappa, I remember उन्होंने बोला था कि मतलब कोई भी एक्सरसाइज करते हैं वो कभी वीडियो पे ऐसे दिखाने नहीं है करके लोगों को, बिकॉज दे डोंट वांट टू शेयर व्हाट इज इफेक्टिव. सो ये जो सोशल मीडिया पे डालने की एक है, ये बच्चों को सिखाने की जरूरी नहीं है. तुम्हारा काम जो है वो जरूरी है. जब टाइम आएगा तब दिखाओ हाउ स्मार्ट यू है. ट्रेन स्मार्ट ओवर ट्रेन हार्ड. ऑब्वियसली गधे की तरह भी आदमी काम कर सकता है और घोड़े की तरह भी काम कर सकता है. घोड़े को प्राइज मिलता है तो दोनों मेहनत करते हैं. बट वी हैव टू बी स्मार्ट इन आवर वर्क. General tips एक last, that is the last slide now. Okay, general tips. Okay, physically hitting कभी young coaches के साथ होता है. In fact, मेरे एक player के साथ अभी some time ago, उसका हाथ twist करके coach ने कुछ घुमा दिया था, तो she couldn't use. It's unlawful, I don't know कैसे कोई बच्चों को मार सकता है, जो अपने they are clients. अगर वो बच्चे बड़े होते तो क्या हम उसको मारते? So hitting, abusing should not be allowed, even by senior students to juniors or anybody. It's not done. It's a bad thing. Okay, this has to sort of stop. Second point, very important, every professional should stick with what they're good at and qualified to teach. So I am a strength and conditioning coach. I'm qualified to teach conditioning. मैं अभी इतने swimmers के साथ काम किया हूँ, doesn't mean मैं जाके उनको swimming सिखाऊं, because that's not what I'm qualified for. Okay, now am I qualified to do surgery? Okay, I might know a bit about nutrition, supplementation. Still, I will not. I will send them to a nutritionist. So same way, people should also not get involved in strength and conditioning without knowing, because strength and conditioning, fitness, it becomes like a common sort of thing. Everybody comes and teaches. So it's very important to understand that it's a very specialized field, and just like how I wouldn't be teaching swimming and the swimming coach wouldn't be doing physiotherapy, or the physiotherapy guy wouldn't be doing nutrition. Same, the others should not do strength and conditioning unless they are experienced, qualified, and they know. Okay. It is not something which is just done for fun. Exercise is not something, which is just out there where everybody is an expert. But unfortunately, that's what happens a lot of time. People, younger coaches sometimes want to be in control of everything, and it's good if everybody knows what they're good at, and stick with what they're good at. This is something maybe, for coaches and maybe even for the swim federation, like, adding new movements. Last moment में बहुत बार होता है, कि लोग जाते हैं, कोई कैंप होता है, और 2 weeks में या last 1 week में suddenly, coaches उनको कुछ अलग करा दे. एक दिन एक coach आता है, कुछ movements करा देता है, jumps करो, stair running करो, कुछ भी. दूसरे दिन दूसरा coach आ जाता है. This can do more harm, because काम जो है तैयारी का, it should already be done. It should already have been, over. Okay, last moment पे add करने से it's more risky. Talented swimmers getting injured should be investigated and accounted for. Okay, because I mean, I'll give a simple example of someone like Amana Patel. When she trained with me till 2017. Okay, she's the backstroke champions record holder, but today she has had 3 injuries: left shoulder, then right shoulder in the gym, and then ankle injury. Okay, if this can happen to the best swimmer in the country, I'm just wondering what's happening with the others. जब वो गुजरात में करती थी, then she was swimming and she was doing well in a very basic pool. So sometimes we need to question this, कि क्यों injuries हो रहे हैं, और injuries हो तो कौन जिम्मेदार है, because we can't just say कि हो गई injury. Somebody has to be, especially acute injuries which have happened in a gym, और जिसको manage नहीं कर सके, even with the best of players. So it's very important to understand this, and here I would like to give a example of someone like a coach like Kamlesh Nanavati. When she trained with him, and when I worked with her in the past, with not the best pool in the world, and still he helped her just be as she was. I used to follow her program, and I'm not saying that I've played any role. She was special, and sometimes when we have good players, we need to allow them to be like that. We need to allow them to grow. We don't need to come in and interfere too much. They are just special. They do good. So, and if we injure them, then we need to find out who's responsible. Injuries just can't happen at their peak, and then nobody is taking responsibility, especially with people. In fact, I remember writing to Prakash Padukone and Mr. Geet Sethi, about her, saying, she's really talented and we should take. And when they took her, I was so happy. But then she's injured now, and she's practicing. But why was she injured is a very important question. If today PV Sindhu gets injured like this, would people just say it's okay? So we need to be, getting people accountable when things happen. Clubs, coaches, strength coaches, people need to be made accountable, I feel. And last point, Indian sports persons need training based on Indian physical structures, economic status, maturity levels, because Indian athletes have a unique, sort of thing where, they are different. We can't just copy what, जो America में चलता है, या, जो England में चलता है, because the structures are different. खाने का habits अलग है. अपने यहाँ पे नॉर्थ के प्लेयर को, नॉर्थ ईस्ट के प्लेयर को कंपेयर कर लो, with the south guy, or एक पंजाब हरियाणा के प्लेयर को. We can't even compare those. So how can we have just some training which is not so? अगर फॉरेन कोचेस भी है तो उनको ये जानना जरूरी है, यू नो. एंड आई रियलाइज दिस, मैंने जब साउथ अफ्रीका में डिग्री की थी, तो आई रियलाइज हाउ डिफरेंट वी आर, यू नो, हाउ डिफरेंट आवर अप्रोच इज. वी कांट जस्ट डू व्हाट, यू नो, वहाँ पे एक 16-17 year old guy looks like a grown up, you know, और अपने वो maturity level होती नहीं है sometimes even to think independently as well. So अपना जो program है should be matched to our requirements. I think that is where maybe we are failing, and that is where badminton has done a very good job. You know, they have just not copied what the Indonesians or the Chinese do. You know, it has become a very specific game which is suited and played according to the Indian structure. Because agar PV Sindhu starts trying to play like a, you know, Japanese player, like a Chinese player who has huge big calves and is able to jump, PV Sindhu might get injured. So PV Sindhu का जो structure है, Saina Nehwal का है, वो has been used to play according to the Indian style. और वो जरूरी है, you know, so that we don't just copy and try to think, you know, कि वो ये कर रहा तो हमने भी वो करना. We have to find out उनके ideas लेके how we put it for ourselves. Okay, so I think, yeah. The last point, yeah. Finally, the big secret is that there's no big secret, okay? There's only an open mind, jo we use, you know, to observe, learn, apply the knowledge, analyze the result, and if the result is good, we repeat. If it's not great, we correct the process, okay? So that is ultimately what it comes to. There's no formula. The whole idea is that no, किसी के लिए कोई formula नहीं है. Formula होता तो it was so easy, you know. फिर तो सब रिच लोग जो है वो अपने बच्चों को ही सब चैंपियन बना दे, बोलते कि मैं सबसे टॉप कोच को ले लेता हूँ, ये सप्लीमेंट ले लिया, वो कर लिया. सो देयर इज नो फॉर्मूला. ओके, यू हैव, इट्स लाइक, आई कॉल इट, यू नो, कि दिस इज द लास्ट पॉइंट. आई कॉल इट लाइक दिस. हमारा काम है एज कोचेस, इंटरनेट कनेक्शन, या हमारा काम जो है एज कोचेस इज लाइक, यू नो, पानी देना पौधों को. तो जब हम लोग एक बीज लगाते हैं और जब पौधे बढ़ते हैं तो उनको पानी देना और उनको इक्वली देना. ओके, और उनमें से कुछ पौधे होते हैं जो अच्छे फास्ट बढ़ते हैं, उनमें फल ज्यादा आते हैं. ओके, दे आर स्पेशल और उनका वो टाइम होता है. हमारा काम है उनको सपोर्ट करना. वी कांट से, यू नो, कि मतलब आई ऑलवेज से, यू नो, एज अ कोच, कि हमारी वजह से कोई चैंपियन नहीं बनता है. ओके, वो किस्मत होती है कि चैंपियन हमारे पास आया और चल गया, लेकिन चैंपियन को अगर तोड़ दिया देन डेफिनेटली वी आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल. So इसके लिए फॉर्मूला कोई नहीं है. इट्स अ ग्रोथ. एवरी टाइम एवरी स्टूडेंट इज अ न्यू स्टूडेंट. एवरी session is a new student. There is nothing, because I have trained, you know, an X amount of players doesn't mean I can train, you know, somebody else with the same formula. Okay, so yeah, this is it, and I think, yeah, we can have maybe some questions if anybody has. Cool.
Thank you, Declan. It was a wonderful session.
Yeah. Any questions or?
Yeah, we are going to read the questions, Monal sir and myself. You can remove the slide if you want, so that people can see your face, or whatever you like to do. Yeah. So I think it's a wonderful session, and you rightly said one of the take things, or one of the things we can take out of this session is strength training and swimming are parallel. It's part of the overall training or overall development of a swimmer. So as a coach, we should understand that there's a philosophy involved in strength training, and there's a periodization involved in strength training. A successful program will happen only when strength training program and swimming program are well linked with each other. I think that's what you want to say also, Declan. Would you like to say something about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there has to be a philosophy, and that philosophy has to adjust as well to a player. You know, like,
yes.
Just to give an example, you know, sometimes some players there might be some
Declan,
guys,
if you remove your slide, I think you'll get a better.
Is it?
Yeah, better
Stop
sound.
sharing the screen.
Should I close it? This? Yeah.
No, just stop sharing the screen. Yeah.
Perfect.
Your audio will be much better.
Cool. Yeah, so I was saying, you know, like in the past, I've worked with, you know, Nihar students. Like Nihar means students for almost 2 years or so. And that time I remember, you know, like how Sandeep Sejwal, for just to give an example of Sandeep, and say now someone I work with like Srihari. Two different structures. Sandeep, probably one of the strongest swimmers I have seen, you know, like that hardcore guy. He would thrive on that work. You know, the amount of, I mean, strength he had to do pull-ups, you know, I remember him doing pull-ups with a 25 kilo, I think even with a 30 kilo dumbbell, you know, attached. Now, should I make Srihari do that? No, Srihari's structure is generally, I would say, a bit on the delicate side, but he's a good swimmer. And Sandeep, it worked for him, working. So I think this is where that understanding has to be. Sometimes, trying to just do what the champion has done and forcing it on others. I think that's where there's a lot of mistakes I see. Okay, we need to know what fits for whom. Like, again, example of badminton, Saina Nehwal, PV Sindhu, two different structures, both are champions. So I think that, the periodization has to be there and it has to be individual. Because a common mistake happens is I feel, that common approach, ki dekho, wo kitni mehnat karta hai, tum nahi karte ho. And I think that's where the problems start, Some people are never going to be maybe too strong outside, but they'll be excellent in the water. And ultimately we want good swimmers, not gym. We don't want bodybuilders or we don't want CrossFit athletes. Otherwise, like I said, every gymnast would have been a great swimmer.
Coming to the question, let's start with the first question, which is, and a lot of people are asking in the same tune, how to convert maximum general strength into stroke-specific, sports-specific strength.
Okay. Now, maximum strength, see, when you are building maximum strength, let's say somebody is doing bench presses, okay, for example, and we want to, use it in your arm actions. Because in swimming, every stroke that is there, which you're doing, is not really pure strength, because if it's strength, it will be short duration. Strength cannot be going on for, say, maybe for 30 seconds or so. A strength phase will be very short, approximately maybe, 10 seconds or so in the ATP-CP energy system. So how do you convert is, that's why I said earlier, there are no swim specific exercises. You build strength, and if that person has a good base of, doing, say, an argument for upper body strength is a bench press, okay, or a bent over row. It will convert and get its best in the water, okay. You cannot prescribe something and expect that this will make them faster. And sometimes, like I said earlier, there are guys who will thrive only on the endurance phase. You don't need to take them to the strength phase, okay. But if you are very sure about doing it, monitor it well, okay. And strength will help you more. The leg strength part will help you more with your starts, because of the way force is produced in strength. Strength is basically slow movements, okay. It's about producing strength. If I'm doing a bench press, for example, it's a slow movement with the maximum load I can take, then again slow. So the muscles are contracting to their maximum capacity, but at a slow velocity. Power is where you take lighter weight and you go much faster, okay. So when it comes to conversion, okay, you have to ideally, in an ideal situation, you need to go to the power phase of training. That is where you'll find the most conversion. So you've built a strong phase of strength, and then you've started doing, your clap push-ups, plyo push-ups, different, maybe medicine ball, constant throws on the wall, okay. So the power phase would be much more what you should aim for, but that's also a very tricky phase. You should be very careful, okay. So build your endurance phase, go to the strength phase, and from there go to the power phase. From strength phase, when you convert into power training, okay, the changes should be a bit what you have to work on. So like, let's assume you have been doing bench presses now for the last 4 weeks, bench press, squat, deadlift, military press, and maybe heavy bicep curls and bent over rows. And now you want to get into your jump training. So वहाँ पे problem क्या होता है? लोग क्या करते हैं? Let's say the people have been doing 3 sets of say strength work, and now they want to get, so suddenly बंद करके यहाँ से यहाँ चालू हो जाते हैं. Okay, ये बंद आज से हम लोग अभी jumps चालू करते हैं. You need to have that crossover effect कि यहाँ से अगर 3 सेट करते थे तो इसका 1 सेट चालू रखो और यहाँ पे 1 सेट ऐड करो for the first week. Second week में you do 2 sets of power work and keep your strength set to maybe half, okay, and then you change it to 3 sets of power, and then you can either stop this. In my case, I generally keep it on, even the strength I maintain right till the end, and even endurance. But strength ka jo conversion hai, this is how it is, and ultimately our aim is to get to power, because strength by itself won't help in arm actions, because like I said, a heavy bench press kitna, you'll probably do it for 10 seconds. You can't expect that strength to last you for the whole race, which goes on, for close to 2 minutes, 1 minute, okay. So power is what we need to come to ultimately, because power you build for a bit longer, and that is you want quick actions in the pool.
Fantastic. So coming in the same tune of question from Edna Sharma, I'm going to modify it a bit. So how do you differentiate the load, the frequency, and the intensity level in competitive phase for distance swimmer, mid-distance swimmer, and sprinter
Good.
in competitive phase?
Okay, now when it comes to long distance, this is my opinion. Long distance swimmers, I feel, they are just born and they just have stronger structures, and they really just are meant for it. Okay, they of course strength and conditioning plays a role, but I have found the most difference that strength and conditioning makes is to the 200 meters, 150 as well, because that's where power plays such a huge role. Long distance is a lot about strategy as well, how long you hold, and it's about just going on. It's a lot about even the mental aspect as well, because you need to be strong to be going on. Now when it comes to the short distance and the medium distance swimmers, for all of them, if you check, the shortest distance is 30. So a strong base of endurance becomes very important. But for a sprinter, if there's a grown-up guy, let's say there's somebody who's maybe 20 years old, who has a good history of training, I would take him to the strength phase. I would really want him to be training, and especially if he's a 50-meter guy or even 100-meter, then I would like to keep him most of the time on the strength phase. Okay? And then there would be times, when there's no competitions or when there's sort of no immediate need for power, I might back off just to allow him, but I would keep him there. Okay. And during competition, I would want him to be at his strongest. The middle distance guy, I would keep him more at endurance. I would rather do, I could call it 80% of my work on endurance and 20% of strength, just to help him with his starts. Also depends on the requirements. See, like I said in the beginning, we need to find out what is it that the swimmer wants. So a best way is to ask the swimmer. So I ask, when somebody new comes to me, I ask, what is it that you want? Are your kicks what you want to improve? Is it your arm action which you want to improve, your arm power? Or is it your starts? So when we are clear, so if it's kicks, and if it's the long distance guy, the middle distance guy, then I'll put him on more endurance based work. Sometimes like a giant set of maybe a wall chair followed by leg extensions, followed by, not leg extensions first, sorry, a compound first. So wall chair followed by a leg press, followed by leg extensions, and then followed by jump. So it's a 4-setter exercise, which really taxes their lactate system, and they just learn to tolerate lactic acid as well. So for the middle distance guy, I would go more for lactate tolerance. The short distance guy, a lot of strength and power. But within that, if the middle distance guy wants to improve his start, okay, then he also needs to do strength. So we need to find out which phase of his race or her race a person wants help in. Strength and conditioning should help you in certain phases, your starts, your underwater kicks, maybe your finish, It cannot be just a specific thing saying that, no, okay, you guys are all short distance guys, so you are all doing 5 reps of squats. There might be a guy who's had a back pain last week, and I'm saying, I want you to do 5 sets of 5 reps, and squats. Might actually be a bit troublesome. So coming back to it, like I said, there's no formula. The formula is asking the student, having a philosophy in the back of the head and asking, checking every day. I think that checking is important. See, I could have easily, in this whole workshop, I could have just made a chart, and said, this is what you do, this. And that's why I'm not a fan of charts and tests at all. Because, you can I could have made a thing, first 4 weeks, these are the exercises, the next 4 weeks. That's the easy part. I wish it was that easy, would have been lovely for us coaches, to do that.
Can't agree more.
Charts, but it's all about dealing with, it's like I say, it's like dealing with plants that are growing. And then checking, if that plant has a bit of a problem, there's a worm on it, you take it out. And then some plants grow fast, some don't grow fast, but equal. So yeah, the short distance guy needs strength, without a doubt. The middle distance guy needs endurance. But again, we have to, within that, break and find out what is it that they need. Maybe the short distance guy has a beautiful start and then is not able to carry on, for the next, 18, 20 seconds of where his arms start building a lot of lactate. So I would rather work on lactate tolerance for him. So it all depends on the requirement. Like, we have to have an overall idea, and then we have to get inside, individualize.
Fantastic. Thank you. Monal sir, would you like to highlight some questions?
Yeah, thank you, Partha. So A couple of questions which I jotted down while Declan was answering some of them. One thing particularly before I read the question, I would like to ask Declan the importance of the strength and conditioning coach and the swim coach to communicate with each other in the context of what is happening in the water vis-a-vis what is happening in the gym or the dryland training. So particularly as we mentioned periodization, the strength and conditioning coach also mentions periodization. Swim coach will also be following some kind of a periodization. So to avoid conflicts and to have the maximum benefit out of these two types of periodizations, the importance of and how do would Declan suggest that the swim coach vis-a-vis the strength and conditioning coach communicate, and how frequently should they be in touch about individual athlete programs?
Oh, good question. Yeah, that's an important one. Well, it's important that both everybody is on the same page, and I think the most important in this is the swimmer. So the swimmer should be informed by everybody, including the swim coach, the strength and conditioning coach, and if there's a nutritionist, what's going on. I think as long as the swimmer is informed, then we have a good package, and we have a confident swimmer who knows what's happening and who knows that everybody's working on the same lines.
We can't hear you.
In the gym, and the other guy is doing something else. And a lot of times I'll share my personal experience with Ken. Is it better now? Can you hear me now?
You'll have to repeat what you said because it was quite broken.
Yeah. Is it clear now?
Sort of.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay. So now the strength coach and the technical coach working together is like, I mean, there's really no choice, I would say. It has to be together because both are there to help the swimmer. Okay. And if both can be clear about it, and like I said in the beginning, that's why if everybody's clear of the hierarchy of the roles, the strength coach, I could be very good, but I'll never be as important as a swim coach. But at the same time, I shouldn't be, teaching swimming, and the swimming coach should not be teaching strength and conditioning. And there's a lot of friction that happens. I'll be very honest about it. A lot of times, friction comes in where, the strength coach says, do a certain thing. And the swim coach says, but we used to do this, back in the days, we used to do this or something like that. So I think working together, there's no other way. I mean, and I have had very beautiful relationships with some swim coaches, and they tell, and we get along, and then the swim coach will tell sometimes, this is what is the problem. The start is a problem. Can you do something in the gym which can help? And then I know what to do. But that is important. But what can be a mistake is where the swim coach starts giving exercises. And a lot of times this happens, and this happens in other sports too, where the coach gives certain exercises to help the person, do something. And I mean, if I put it blunt, it shouldn't be done. Even though the intentions are good. So we all have to understand everybody's intentions are good. Nobody's doubting that, the coach wants the player to improve. The parents want, but we have to know whose role is. The coach shouldn't become the parent, and the parent shouldn't become the coach, and the strength coach shouldn't become the psychologist, and the psychologist shouldn't become the nutritionist. So it has to be a connected role. It has to be, nobody should ever feel insecure about it. But unfortunately, fitness is one of those things, we have all done it at some part in our life. So I feel, everybody always has an opinion of fitness. Everybody feels, ki, Are, wo to aisa kar raha hai. I've seen that video, that guy is doing this. So I think everybody has an opinion, but it's important to understand that it's a very specific field, and we should maybe not have opinions of fitness as easily as we have. So yeah, working together, I think it's not a choice. I do very simply with Vimal Kumar. Vimal is the coach for Lakshya now, and he was the coach with Saina. I have a beautiful relationship with him. Not one has ever come. And in fact, I trained Prakash Padukone for almost 5 years myself in fitness. Not once has he corrected me. And imagine, Prakash Padukone is a legend, he's a well-known person. Not once has he ever said, Declan, why shouldn't we do this? And that just works so beautiful, when everybody is very clear. And never had I to go into a badminton court and teach somebody. That's not my specialization. So I think that clarity is important, and to know that we are not a threat to each other. The swim coach should not feel that, this guy comes in and takes the credit. or, I should not, I'll never be as important. And, a psychologist who sees a swimmer once in a month or once in 2 months can never be as important as a swim coach who's there at 5 o'clock in the morning for the player. So I think that clarity has to be there and that's why I said the hierarchy is important.
Thank you, Declan. There are some questions on the advantages, disadvantages of running or jogging as a dryland exercise for swimmers on the pool deck or otherwise.
Running, yeah. Now see, that's swimming as a sport is a water-based sport. Okay, now people, yes, do run. And in fact, if you check swimmers running, they generally have very awkward running styles. And the main reason is because they most of the time being in water, that control is not there. They are not used to producing ground reaction forces. If running is used, maybe if I had to use it, and I've used it sometimes, with some guys, I would use it in some phase to improve for me, it's a power exercise. Because every time you take a step and you're landing, the amount of shock that's coming from one leg and coming into your quadriceps, your lower back, your hip, can be used as a power movement. But is running important to do just for the sake of it? No. It has no relevance to swimming unless it's used as an exercise. But to think that, because if running was important, and like I keep saying, then we just need to get 100-meter sprinter from any athletics thing and say, okay, go and swim. So as a link, there is not much. Worrisome can be if the swimmer doesn't have good joint stability and they keep running just for the sake of it, and they end up getting injured. In fact, I know one physiotherapist had told me, how there was one swimmer, because she used to go around and around the pool, and she had a ACL tear because constantly running around, was putting strain on her ACL in one direction. And she had a tear, and then he had spoken to the coaches. Coaches didn't listen to the physio, and she had a tear. So running, if you ask me, really there's not much link if we look at it. Ultimately, we want to swim. We want to produce qualities in muscle of endurance or strength or power. So where does running fit in? Okay, for endurance, maybe to an extent, yes, and maybe for power, if it's like, bigger strides. So we need to know where it fits in and be used as an exercise to improve performance. But just for the sake of it, that every morning, okay, chalo, 10 chakkar lagao, I think that really is questionable.
Okay, thank you. Another question on, as a swim coach, how to differentiate pain from the previous workout as opposed to pain from an injury or a potential pre-injury condition?
Good. Yeah. This is an important one. See, with training, there can be some soreness, okay, in any person, when they train. Soreness, though, is not something we should strive for. A lot of times people strive for soreness. Soreness needs to be, if it is there, it should be very mild. So if a person has 10% or 20% soreness, fair enough from the workout. But when it's too close to 100%, it can become very difficult to differentiate. Is it a serious injury or is it soreness? And then that can also, the next day when the person goes already in a pre-fatigue state and still trains, again, it can be risky. So how to differentiate? What I do is, one, you check their range of movement. Okay, if they're able to move their arms free, I'll ask them, raise your arm, any pain in the joint. I look for joint pain. If somebody says my knee's hurting inside, if my shoulder's hurting inside, then I'm always a bit cautious. Normally, if you do a workout at 50%, somebody comes and says, I have a bit of soreness, so I'm tired. Okay, I'll say, fine, today let's do a 50% workout, meaning only 1 set. After doing that workout of 1 set, if they feel that, I'm feeling better now than what I was, we know we've done a good job. That means it was just soreness. With the movement and with the increased blood flow, they are feeling better. Okay. So that gives you an idea. If it gets worse, and in one of the slides I've put, if the next day they come and say, my shoulder, sir, is hurting more, it's gone worse. And sometimes if they have any inflammation somewhere, okay, then you need to worry. Third day they come in and they say, no, sir, it's getting worse. In the night when I was sleeping, it's worse. You need to see a specialist, straight away. Don't try to push luck and just say, versus, like coaches would tell a person like, Arey, don't start your natak. And a lot of swimmers tell me, I get a lot of feedback from swimmers on my own training and even other coaches. I ask, they say a lot of times coaches don't listen. The hardest part is, when we tell we've got pain and they don't listen, they make it look like as if, oh, your natak chalu ho gaya tomorrow. And I think that's a very dangerous thing. When somebody has pain, your antenna should be up, that how do we deal with this? And if they are improving after the workout, you give them a half workout, 50% rule, give them a half workout. If they feel better after that, great. Next day, give them a 75% workout of their max. If they feel, okay, no problem, great. Third day, you go to 100%. But it need not be that if they come, कि आज करना ही है, मतलब तेल निकालना ही है ना students का. That is the sort of standard thing, Gym में आ गए तो gym में, gym का coach उनका पूरा तेल निकाल के भेजेगा. Then, the guy in the pool will do. So I think we need to take it seriously when people have pain, because that pain from soreness and injury, sometimes it's hard to detect. Better to be safe than sorry. See, if somebody has no pain and if they are injury free, they've got a chance. They can come next day and they still have a chance. But if your shoulder's gone, if you mess it up, done. So you have to be very, very careful. If somebody comes with pain or with an injury, take it easy, back off, see for the next 2 days. If it gets worse, orthopedic surgeon. Have a good tie-up with a good orthopedic surgeon, or if you have a physio, let him have a look. But that is how. Don't take a chance with pain. I'm paranoid of pain because I've seen enough, good swimmers lose years, just because of not taking steps at the right time. So when it comes to pain, take it serious for coaches.
Thank you. There are a few questions which we can be summed up into one question. Is the age for boys and girls to start any form of dryland exercises and then progressing onwards to a more higher training, dryland training with equipment, etc.
Okay. Now, as far as
you can add another question to that, which is part of this only, the age at which you can start developing motor skills and basically the progression.
So when it comes to conditioning, what we have to understand is what is done in the gym. If let's say now I have the youngest person who trains, who has trained with me has been 7 years old. Okay, he comes in the gym, my assistant works with him. Now, does it mean he lifts 20 kilo dumbbells? Definitely not. Does it mean he goes and starts doing heavy bench presses? Absolutely not. Okay. Strength and conditioning is just as same as a kid going out and climbing a tree and pulling his body up. Okay, if we had a tree in our house and the kids start playing there and climbing, or there's a rope and you climb up, you're using your body weight anyways. So people sometimes have this fear of a gym, because they assume somebody goes to a gym means they just do bodybuilding exercises, Not true at all. If a kid comes in, it could be any age, 7, could be 10. Stick with the endurance phase, stick with safety, stick with higher repetition. So there's really no age. I mean, there should be no age. Because if there is an age, then they should also not do swimming, because swimming is repetitive stress. So people have this fear that, okay, gym jayenge. When I was a kid, I remember, guys used to say, gym jayenge to height nahi badhta hai. Heavy gym karenge to. Of course, but who's told you to do heavy? बच्चा जाके अगर वहाँ पे 20 किलो का डंबल उठाएगा, then there's a problem for coaches. So it's important to understand that strength and conditioning is a very safe thing when done by professionals. Okay, it has to work, because it in fact works better, because like I gave an example earlier. Now there's a kid, okay, in dryland, he comes and he's given an exercise. You tell him do push-ups. Aaj chalo 10 push-up karte hain. And the kid cannot do. His shoulder goes from here and is only doing this, and you can see that. Now you're telling him, come on, go low, go down and do it. And he can't do, because there's no ways. Now, how do you work on that? If he has to come to a gym and he has to work with me, what would I do? I would work on his shoulder strength, deltoid. I would give him light dumbbells, maybe 1 kilo, 1.5, and just high reps, slow movements, high reps. So he builds strength here over a period of time. Then I will work on his triceps as well, so that he has more extension work, either with a cable. I will work on his core so that he can handle it there. I will work a bit on his leg strength. So when he's doing a push-up, the legs also help. Now, when all these joints work together, then the chances of him doing first a kneeling push-up is higher. And then once he masters that, then I'll, get him to do a full one, maybe first with some eccentric work and then, getting. So there is a need for strength and conditioning. And sometimes, there's a belief that bodyweight exercises are good and gym exercises are not good. Again, a myth. A bodyweight exercise like push-ups, when you can't do, and the kid is going and dying there to do 5 reps, you've actually made him do a strength phase routine, because he is pushing his body to the maximum. So though it looks like a push-up, but you're actually taking him and his shoulders into a strength phase, which is where the risk starts. So any age, there's no age, as long as it's sensible and it's right. Okay, gym is not gym is not a bar or a dangerous place, where people sometimes coaches look at it as, oh, gym mein bachche nahi jane chahiye, badon ke liye. No, it can be used, it can be, because in that case, then, I think even swimming is as dangerous, if not more. Imagine a guy doing for kilometers is using the same arm movement. How can that be good for anybody's shoulder? So it can be done at any age. There's no right age or wrong age. Starts at any age, but work on it specifically. And maybe a tip now, what I could give, coaches, if like they want to now say, learn good strength and conditioning, how do we do it? First thing to learn, I would suggest for everybody, I say this to any coach, any field. First thing to learn is learn anatomy. Get your anatomy right. Okay, you should know every muscle, and once your anatomy is good, where the muscle originates and where it attaches, then post that you get your kinesiology good. And on YouTube, there's millions of good videos of muscles. So once you know what muscle is working and what the action is, it becomes very easy then to know what exercises to do, because you can see, you should be able to see your body three-dimensionally. So if someone's like talking about, say, the pectoralis major, okay, a muscle which is used a lot in different strokes. Okay, so the action is one, horizontal adduction. Okay, then there's flexion, which is one, and there's internal rotation of the humerus. Once we know these, it becomes very easy to understand, okay, this is a muscle, this is what it does. But if we don't know, then what happens? We just keep looking for exercises, hoping this exercise works. So I would suggest strongly, for anybody, I say this to even strength coaches, get your anatomy right, get your kinesiology right. Once you know the muscle, once you know the movement, then you will know what to do to aid that movement. So somebody says, my legs are not strong and my kicks are not that great. So now you know what to do with that muscle, because you know the muscle, then you know the actions of the muscle. Then you choose exercises to improve that action. Okay, so strongly suggested, I would say, in fact, swimming coaches, I think, have to, and a lot of them, of course, have very good knowledge. The younger guys, I would say, as much anatomy is like, it can never go wrong. And kinesiology, just knowing the actions of muscles, or sometimes it's even called functional anatomy, it can never go wrong. The more we know about it, I keep like revisiting these videos just to, it's interesting to know, how these muscles work.
Thank you, Declan.
Partha, I'd like
Thank
to
you.
keep
Oh, sorry.
one more question.
Sure.
Because it's not
Please.
a question, but I'd like to link it to the previous workshops.
Sure.
Declan, if you might have logged into some of our earlier sessions where we had some very serious senior swim coaches talking about various things on long-term athlete development, energy systems, etc. And there has been ample discussion on our previous sessions on the disadvantages, early specialization in the sport, or pre-pubertal over-focus on training anaerobic or lactate systems, etc., or pre-pubertal over-focus on, competitive phase of the child rather than, having fun with the sport. And this, all these discussions have been more towards keeping the athletes longer in the game, because we see that we have a very early dropout in swimming because kids tend to get burned out. So from a strength and conditioning point of view, I would like to seek your views on, just overdoing it at too early an age. Though it is possible that a kid could start going to the gym at 7 years, I want your views on exactly whether he should be doing that, because we see athletes then, they just lose the fun of being or playing the sport for the fun of it.
Okay, I look at this two ways. I look at it this way. See, there are competitive swimmers or competitive, any tennis player, whatever. And there's non-competitive. So first, I think if the coach and the parents are clear that is this child competitive, is he going to swim competitions? Okay. Then I think my approach is a very cold approach. If you're competitive, then you need to prepare for competition. If you're recreational, you can take it easy. It's fun, it's going to be. So I think that clarity has to be there. Now, once that clarity is there, that what is the type of person we are training, then we have to do the right thing. So let's assume there's a swimmer, who's maybe 11 years old and he is showing good potential, and the coach wants him to do some strength and conditioning, maybe, even follow some decent amount of nutrition because he knows, and the swimmer's also keen on it. Then I think there's nothing wrong, But if we are clear that the parents are also clear, we just want him to go there and, swim and enjoy, that's also fine. But that clarity is important. If competitive, then do the right things that are required for improving performance. Now, where it goes wrong, and I feel, this is what I've seen, and maybe I've seen it a bit more in swimming, is the load. Okay, there is some sort of thing, and maybe I'll explain this in Hindi because a lot of coaches would understand the younger guys. बहुत सारे young coaches होते हैं, उनमें क्या होता है, I've seen this, कि अगर बच्चा आए और उनको बोले, सर कुछ मैं आज थक गया हूँ, तो एक मिलिट्री टाइप का ट्रेनिंग हो जाता है, फॉर अ लॉट ऑफ कोचेस, कि मतलब नहीं सुनूंगा, तुम्हारा दर्द कर रहा है, तुम्हारा नाटक कर रहा है, चल रहा है, चलो लग जाओ प्रैक्टिस को. आई थिंक दैट इज वे यहाँ पे जो छोटे बच्चे रहते हैं 11 वगैरह, उनका इंटरेस्ट यहाँ पे टूटता है कि कोच मेरी सुनता नहीं है और मेरी बॉडी दर्द कर रही है फिर भी सुनने तैयार नहीं, और मैं जब जाता हूँ डर के जाता हूँ वहां पे, मेरी तो मतलब कुछ जैसे मतलब इज्जत ही नहीं. आई फील every guy should be treated like a world champion. Whether it's your top performing guy or whether it's a 11-year-old guy, every guy who's there should be performing and should be treated like that. Then they don't lose interest. That is one. And if we don't break their bodies, sometimes, अगर कभी ऐसा होता है कि कोई player है, swimmer है, जिसके, who comes and says, मेरे मतलब body में pain बहुत है, I'm not feeling great today. Give them a break. What's wrong in giving a break? मेरे पास so many times, athletes come to the gym and they'll say, I'm very tired today. We had a tough session in the morning. I have so many times just asked them, put a mat, lie down, put your feet up. It's okay. दुनिया खत्म नहीं हो जाती कि if we give somebody a break. But बहुत सारे coaches I've seen, मतलब break देना is like this thing, like break कैसे दे, आराम करोगे तुम नहीं. What's wrong in पूरा महीना पड़ा रहता है, especially swimming में we have, sort of 3 months 4 months of planned thing, one day off in between. What's wrong in that, and that actually builds that sort of confidence, so with youngsters early age, if we start that, they will enjoy it more. Okay, and they will start liking coming to the pool. They should know that we are friends. They are not coming there for some regimented hard training. Even if they are competitive, I think we should still be friends with them, and then we should do the right things. A lot of guys leave mainly because their bodies are not able to cope with it. They just can't take that load. And then as a coach is not willing to listen. Okay, he just feels, nahi tumhare mein dam nahi hai. So if we make it fun and if we make him or her feel special, I have not had anybody who's come. Of course, my field is different, but I've never had a problem of connecting with any kid, where they wouldn't love to come. Most of them who stop is because there's distance, they are in a different state, or, sometimes they can't afford maybe, or whatever, different things. But I think that question of, youngsters, keeping them motivated is just about not breaking their body and making them feel special. I remember a case from Bombay. There were these two brothers, and their mother, some 3-4 years ago, she was telling me how the family had never sat down together for a breakfast, because including Sundays used to be training. So they had not sat down. I was like, seriously, have you not told the coach that you need a break? The coach is not going to listen. Said, कि मतलब वहाँ पे ऐसा होता है कि कभी अगर ब्रेक ले लो गलती से, अगर उठे नहीं और आए नहीं, तो शाम को कोच तुमको मॉर्निंग का भी वर्कआउट कराएगा, punishment. I was like, मतलब unless we change this, unless we change this thing of punishing and not trusting, मतलब तुम आए नहीं तो तुम गाला मार रहे हो, you're trying to lie. We have to change this. We have to understand this. We are dealing with humans and people. Why would somebody lie to me? अगर मैं जिम में आगे किसी को आज करना है heavy, why would somebody lie? If I trust him, he will not lie. तो क्या होता है, कोच सुनता नहीं है, फिर बाद में बच्चे भी झूठ बोलने लगते हैं, सोचते हैं कि ये तो सुनने वाला है नहीं, इसको पहले ही बोल दे सर बहुत दर्द कर रहा है, तो 3 दिन के बाद कम से कम सुनेगा. So I think we have to have a more open relationship with athletes, so that they don't have to lie. It's a very sad thing if people start lying to us. So at that young age thing, I mean, just a specific point if I answer, I have done this with one, badminton player. She was, I think at that time 12, and she was having a lot of injuries and stuff. And then her mother said, no, she loves to play golf. So should she? Said, please let her. And then she left badminton. She started playing golf. She was enjoying. We need to have the courage as well as coaches to tell the truth sometimes, and let parents take their child somewhere else to some other sport. Because see, most important thing what we all worry is the fee. We think 4 बच्चे गए तो उतना fees कम हो जाता है. But we sometimes have to do the right thing. Even with seniors, if they ask us for advice, you have to give the right advice. Sometimes it's time to stop, So I think we need to.
Arthav, I think we can move to the next question.
Yeah.
Close to 11:30, we might need to wrap up in 2-3 questions We can
Okay.
continue as long as possible, but thank you, Declan, for clarity on that subject.
Yeah, thank you, Declan. And I totally agree with that. To build a good relationship between coach, strength and condition, and swimmer, we have to be honest among each other, and that's the foundation. So I think we can take a last question in this segment, talking about differentiating. Do you differentiate boys and girls training in dryland program? And if you do, of same age, of course. And if you do, what are the aspects you differentiated?
Okay. Now, with boys and girls, the only differentiation I do is, obviously when girls hit their puberty and they have their periods, that is the only thing, because that is the time when they can't train. Okay, if they come to a gym, then certain movements like crunches and any movement sometimes can be quite troublesome. So I
In
let
this,
them.
if you could highlight something about it at that phase of monthly cycle,
Yeah.
what a girl can do or what a girl cannot do, because there's a question in the same tune.
Yeah. So what the girls should do and what I make them do is whatever they can do. Okay. So I go by it that way. So some of them, say that, okay, I'm okay to do, some lower back extensions. I'm fine. Some will say my back is anyway hurting. Some of the taller girls will have that problem. Some will say, that I'm okay to do some endurance work, maybe just some light, higher repetition work. And some even feel benefit from doing that, if they do high reps and not pushing to 100%. So I go by feel. I give them the choice. Okay. And why that is important is also because, if sometimes somebody tends to have their periods during competition, then what do we do? There's really nothing. So it's good to make them train, but not to force them. We need to give them that confidence. So the only change I look at is this, because that is the real sort of difference between the two. Otherwise, exercise-wise, both have to race, both need power, both need strength. Okay. So the rest of the phase of training goes always on the same principles. There's no change. The only difference is this, because that is the real physical difference, other than anatomical as such. That is the only difference, that girls tend to have periods, and we need to take that into account. If they come into the gym, let them do, give them a choice. And like I said before, उनको अगर choice दे दो ना, they will do what is right. They do not lie. You give them the choice, make them responsible, they will do it right. So we don't have to force them कि नहीं ये करना ही है. We give them the choice, and some of them will do, some will say I'm okay and I can do more or less. Give them the choice. But the only changes I look at it is this, between periods. Other than that, training wise, if a girl, there are some girls who can, squat 40 kilo squats, because that is what they thrive on, and they love that, and they feel good in the water when they're doing that. So be it, there are some girls who can't, so be it. There are guys who can't do 40 kilos. So I think we have to just go by that field. The only differentiation I look at is the time, when they hit their periods, and then occasionally, if they have. If sometimes it's really bad, they'll tell me, that I can't come to the gym and I can't train, and I'm okay with that, But I always tell them, if there's a competition and if you've gone there, okay, and though you have your periods, go through it, do it, because you get one shot. There's no second chance in swimming. So once you decide, do it. And if you decide you don't want to do strength training today, it's okay. You want to miss a swim session. If I was a swim coach, I'd say it's okay. But if you decide to stand on the blocks, now go all out, So that confidence, once you give, I think they make their own decisions well. But yeah, like I said, for the whole thing, periods, that's the only change I see in boys and girls.
Thank you. I think
there's a question, Partha, which
sure, sir.
Has been repeating as we scroll down. So I think we should take this one, and it's also important because there's some people who are continuously feeling that what should be the kind of punishment given to swimmers if you don't give. So I think a lot of people may not be asking that question, but still might be punishing their swimmers. So I think some views on punishment to your swimmer or athlete or sports person by the coach seems to be a very important part of the toolkit, as Nihar initially said, the coach's toolkit. Punishment part of a coach's toolkit.
Now, like I said, I've been influenced a lot by, Vimal Kumar and Prakash Padukone. And I was a hard disciplinarian when I started with the academy. I was there for 3 years with them. And I was like this mad guy, guys would not even breathe without asking me. I was like that. And over time, I realized, when during meetings and stuff, they said, no, it's okay to punish, but we also can't have guys who are just standing like as if they're in the military, standing and they're not saying a word. We need guys who are confident And they said, we should also understand that many of these guys, they were good before they came to us as well. Before they come to the academy also, they were good. That's why they come. Okay. Punishment, in my opinion, can be various. I used to do something funny, like if somebody would come late for practice, I used to get them in front of the group and I used to make them sing. I said, come here, you start singing. Okay. Or sometimes I used to, get them, and just stay quiet and everybody looks at them. We used to do like some fun things, but over time I realized that, you cannot worry too much about punishment, because if you worry about punishment, you're not focusing on training. We need to look at, how to improve. And nobody is perfect. We have to understand that with these kids, okay, they are not perfect, nor were we perfect. हम लोग छोटे थे तो हम भी perfect नहीं थे. हम लोग बोलते हैं कुछ हो गया तो बोलते फोन पे बच्चे बहुत रहते हैं, this that. रात को हमारे पास फोन थे नहीं, इसके लिए भी were not. So I'm a big this about punishment. No, we have to let go. And problem with giving push-ups as punishment, or making them do some plank or something, is that you are stressing that joint. That joint could have been used for an X amount of time. So I look at fitness should not be used for punishment, and I look at fitness should also not be used for fun as a filler. Kabhi kabhi kya hota hai? Like let's assume, I'm just giving an example of swimming as, say there's lightning and the swimming session is cancelled in the evening. And then let's assume they have a place where they can be all indoors. So chalo, aaj swimming nahi hai to aaj fitness karte. That is also wrong, because you can't just fit in fitness and just put it somewhere. It can't be used as a filler. Ki aaj kuch nahi karna hai, bore ho raha hai to chalo fitness karao, bachcha ko bhagao. It cannot be that. Fitness has a specific role, then X amount of exercises which are done, and that's it. Punishment ke liye, I think the worst punishment that can be given to any student, and I've realized this over time, is don't make them practice, make them sit. But it has to be something which is very, very serious. Like I'm not too much of, not worried too much about people coming late. We are living in India where traffic is hard, Some people come by autos, expecting them to come on time. I would rather have, and this is something I learned from Vimal Kumar and Prakash, I would rather have a swimmer who performs when it's necessary than a swimmer who's so disciplined, comes and puts his hand, good morning, sir, good evening, sir, has his shoulders down the whole time, comes and talks in a soft voice, and then when he goes away, he talks in a loud voice. So he pretends in front of me. I would rather not have that swimmer. I would have a swimmer who's relaxed in front of me, who I don't have to punish, and who might be indisciplined, if I might call it. But I want a swimmer who can perform, because the swimmer comes to swim and practices to perform. So the whole punishment aspect, we have to, I think coaches need to understand that parents pay us fees not for teaching discipline. They pay us fees for teaching swimming or for strength and conditioning. Discipline karna hota to military mein jate, So I think we have to ease up on that whole discipline thing, and toughness. I think that's where this whole comes in, And maybe, this will clear it out. Sports persons and military people are different. Coaches should understand this. A lot of young coaches. Okay, military ka discipline is different. Sports person ko wahan bhej de to bhag ke aa jayenge. They don't have that toughness. Sports people are in fact very delicate. तो उनमें जो टफनेस होता है मिलिट्री का, वो हम लोग यहाँ बढ़ाने देखें ना, there's just no link. A sports person can't fight like a military man, and a military man can't perform like a sports person. So discipline is a very tricky thing, It's a very, very tricky thing. It can get into the head, make us punish, make us go overboard, make us, check what they are doing in the evenings at home. Kya kar rahe, kya nahi. I'd rather have a guy who, with all those imperfections, comes, and when he hears is on the block, he performs. Because that's what ultimately we want, So the punishment side, I think लोगों को भूल जाओ punishment. Please बच्चों को कम punish करो. Life में already काफी troubles है. Parents को भी बच्चों को भी just forget about punishment. It's not necessary. Punishment से कोई champions नहीं बनते. Okay, so I think थोड़ा वो उस पे ढील देने की जरूरत है, Probably Indian coaches में वो ज़्यादा रहता है, It's in a way I call it bullying, For me it's bullying, कि एक बच्चे को डराना. Would we do that to a grown-up guy? Maybe not, So thoda, I'd say let's go easy. Discipline is not what they pay us for. One coach has asked, I could read at the bottom, coach who is friendly may look, I can't open it, but I can understand, that the coach who is friendly may look like he is soft. What's wrong in being soft? Why do you have to be a coach who comes and walks tight, and baat nahi karta hai? Why should you be? Why can't a coach be soft and be friendly and be genuine? Coach naram lage usme, what's the problem? Coach should be friendly. Agar bachche ko kuch question hai, he should be able to come to me and ask me, bina dare. Why should I look like as if I'm a stern guy, Mere se puchna hai to dar na.
Great, Partha.
Yeah, I think it was
We've
a lovely
done,
session.
been managed. There's so many questions today. So honestly, Declan, we were not able to take a lot of questions which were there and very
Correct.
specific, some very specific questions. The reason for not taking some of them, just so that everyone understands it, that this session is more to swim coaches should understand the role and importance of the strength and conditioning part of a swimmer's training and when and how it is. It's not the, as you and everybody knows, that the swim coach is not supposed to be the strength and conditioning coach. So, but there are many questions on how to do certain type of exercises, etc., which we have not been able to address. At the end of the sessions, the whole series will be sharing the contact IDs of email IDs of the various presenters. So you can expect some questions coming towards you. It looks like that, right, Partha?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, sir. I think the
Right.
bonding between coach and the dryland program, what will make the success for swimmers, right? So in future, he have given an idea, he have given a philosophy of strength and condition coaching. So as a coach, we need to accept that, and we also need to understand that we need to work together to ensure better performance for future. And with that note, I'd like to thank you, Declan. Do join us tomorrow, coaches, for a wonderful session of